Thank you. Good morning and welcome to CSLZV. We're Wade and Kimberly. We'll be your song leaders this morning. So this is a little change of the order of service. There's a couple of songs, then we'll do a song, and then everybody does a song. So let's stand up and everybody does our sing-along song, More Than Enough by Daniel Nabot.
There is more than enough in the universe that you created. There is more than enough on a planet of sacred design. There is more than enough for humanity made in your image. Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Your infinite love made me, made everything I see, and all that will ever be is your infinite love. Let my soul know the truth, whatever I choose to do, your infinite love will prove more than enough. There is more than enough in the universe that you created. There is more than enough on a planet of sacred design. There is more than enough for humanity made in your image. Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I ever think I'd go without? Your infinite love made me, made everything I see. All that will ever be is your infinite love. Let my soul know the truth, whatever I choose to do. Your infinite love will prove more than enough. Your infinite love made me, made everything I see, and all that will ever be is your infinite love. Let the world know the truth, whatever we choose to do. Your infinite love will prove more than enough, more than enough, more than enough.
Thank you, Wade and Kimberly. You are more than enough, for sure. And you are more than enough. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in Capistrano Valley in beautiful San Clemente. Hi, Joni. It's nice to see you. And Liz Ann's here. I've been seeing all kinds of people I haven't seen for a while. It's a joy to be here this morning, and it's a joy to welcome each and every one of you here to our center. We are a trans-denominational center, which simply means that you are welcome and welcome home. No matter what spiritual path you're on, no matter what culture you're from, no matter what, you can come here because we love you. So we're going to start the service like we do every week as a reminder of who we are with the flames of faith. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence that we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and the practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and the path of peace. We light the candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And as our practitioner, Patrick Freeman, lights that last candle, please let it represent the path that brought you to this service this morning.
Well, good morning. Today, Reverend Alice is going to talk about finances. Let it flow. So please join with me in consciousness. We know that God is all there is. God is peace. God is love. God is joy. God is abundance. We live in a universe of infinite abundance of every form of wealth, love, health, financial, freedom, creativity, and more. Yet many in this world are starving. The infinite flowing reservoir is always available, but we only let it trickle through. Our consciousness is filled with rules, beliefs of lack and limitation, self-loathing and devaluing. These rules and beliefs choke the flow of the infinite good. Our work is to get our foot off the hose and let the natural abundance of the universe flow into our lives. I know this to be true, and I thank the universe. And please join with me in saying, and so it is. Our global vision. We see a world that works for everyone, where humanity awakens to its spiritual magnificence, where forgiveness is the norm, where resources are valued, cared for, and shared, and where there is peace, harmony, and justice for all. Today's affirmation: I now let the universal abundance flow freely in my life, and so it is.
Thank you, Patrick. And now it's my great joy, always it is my great joy to welcome Wade Wooldridge to the platform. Oh, and Kimberly.
So let me ask you, are you ready to acknowledge and affirm the amazing, abundant, creative power that is your mind? Yes. Well, I will give you that opportunity shortly.
Well, there's a secret to success everybody hopes to find. There's a key to the world, and it's mine. opportunity filled with possibility and dreams that I'm gonna find. I've got a millionaire mind. I say yes. I say yes to success. I've got a millionaire mind. I say yes. I say yes to success. All that I can see and all that I can be, infinite prosperity, it's all inside of me. I've got a millionaire, I've got a millionaire, I've got a millionaire mind. I've got a millionaire mind. I say yes, I say yes to success. Now you, I've got a millionaire mind. I say yes, I say yes to success. Again, I've got a millionaire mind. I say yes, I say yes to success. I've got a millionaire, you got a millionaire. I've got a millionaire, you got a millionaire. Come on, I've got a millionaire mind. I say yes, I say yes to success. Last time, I've got a millionaire mind. I say yes, I say yes to success. Say yes.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Wade. Who feels like they have a millionaire mind now? Yay! Woohoo! Good morning. My name is Reverend Alice Reid, and yes, I'm going to talk about finances, but relax. If you're triggered about anything, this is really going to be easy, because we're going to talk about what's underneath all of that. We're going to look at these wonderful principles that we teach, this way of life, and we are going to empower each other as we move through this month. So I'm really excited about this. For the balance of this month, we're going to be looking at money and our relationship to it, but not just for money's sake, but as a vehicle for allowing greater good in our lives. Right. That's what the principle is, to teach that we're always working with causes and conditions, and everything's created twice, first in consciousness and then in form, and money's no exception. Last week, did I just say Reverend? Last week, Coach Dave talked about the infinite abundance of spirit, and he also spoke about what he called the law of tithing. And I just, for me, just personally, I know that some people teach that tithing is a law, but I see it more as a practice that demonstrates a law. And the law that it demonstrates is the law of correspondence and the law of circulation. And so when we talk about the law of circulation, that one's pretty obvious, right? We're working with a law that circulates through us always, that there's always something that we're that filter that life circulates through. And when we talk about the law of correspondence, we're talking about a law that corresponds to our mindset, right? So if I take action in fear, then I have an experience that's imbued with fear. And if I take action in love, then I have an experience that's imbued with love, because that's how the law of correspondence works. And I'll talk more about that a little bit later. Well, we're also going to today look at this idea of abundant flow of spirit that is moving through all life and the ways that it shows up for us. And we're going to talk about the mechanics of the creative process. You know me, folks, we've been friends for about a year, right? And I talk about the creative process a lot. And the reason I talk about the creative process a lot is because it's the secret sauce of our philosophy. It really is the thing it's the engine behind this science that we work with. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit more today. And then in the following 2 weeks, Reverend Judy and I are going to get down and dirty. Right? We're going to talk about fundamentals. We're going to really be looking at principles. And hopefully, if you're feeling triggered, that means something's loosening up. That means something's getting shaken up in you that needed to shift so that you could have a greater experience of abundance in your life. Raymond Charles Barker is famous, at least in this girl's book, for this quote that when I heard it, just landed somewhere deep inside of me. I felt the resonance with it. And that quote is, "Money is God in action." Money is God in action. And what he means by that is that money is the effect. It's the outpicturing. It responds to the value and the energy, law of correspondence, and the circulation, the law of circulation. It responds to what we imbue it with. And so when we're looking at this idea of money, I want you to think of money like a windsock. The windsock, in and of itself, has no power without the wind. And money works the same way. It has no power without the power that you give it. And so we'll be looking at how we sometimes get confused with money and treat it like a cause instead of a condition. Judge Thomas Troward, if any of you have taken classes, you may be familiar with him. You may be familiar with his work. He was a great influencer of Ernest Holmes. And he did a lot of writing about the creative process. And when he wrote about the creative process, he talked about two things. I'm doing a little teaching here. Bear with me. He talked about first cause and secondary cause. First cause comes from God, comes from Spirit, comes from the highest place that we can elevate our understanding to. And the second cause we have a little more control over because it's using our mind and our beliefs to create what we create. And so I think oftentimes, and it's easy, like we come by this honestly, we get all twisted up thinking that money is the cause of things when in fact it is a condition. It is a secondary cause. It's something that is the output of consciousness, our beliefs and the things that we hold within our subconscious. And then finally, we're going to end the month after we've made this whole trip around looking at how money flows and then looking at some of the things that we get triggered about. We'll come back around and we'll see if we can't hold a more holistic and healthy relationship with money and how we can really be using first cause and then moving out into the world through secondary cause with our beliefs around money. And hopefully some of them will change. One of the other things that we're doing this month that I'm really excited about starts today. You might have noticed a couple of different things in the sanctuary. If you were triggered by the altar, what I want to tell you is you're not triggered by the Buddha, are you? You're not triggered by other types of religious paraphernalia. We recognize all walks of faith. We recognize the mystical rituals behind all of them. And so we do have an altar in the room, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. But today is the first day of our Conscious Committed Giving program. And so our team is going to be offering you lots of great ways to up-level your relationship with money, to up-level your consciousness, to begin to root out those places where you might feel a little stuck, and to hopefully guide you to a place of greater freedom and greater love and greater expression. And so we've called our program Circulating Love, our commitment to you, our commitment to each other, and our commitment to the world. And we're going to really look at how it's our choice to imbue our money, our finances, the material world with love. It's our choice, and we can make that choice. as we continue this path of looking at everyday wonder, you might be, and we start talking about money, you might be wondering, why don't I feel abundant with money? You might be wondering that. And so we are talking about this. We're talking about those places that live in us, that live in our subconscious, that we don't even become aware of, much like that windsock. We don't even become aware of them until we have a situation, until somebody comes to talk to us about something, or we get something in the mail that kind of triggers us. And then we've been given the cosmic clue that there's some clearing that wants to happen within us. But we don't always go there. Sometimes we first have the reaction. And the thing I love about money as a teaching tool is it touches every part of our life. There's no part of your life that isn't affected by your living, and affected by how much money you have, affected by the things that you want. That is the exchange of energy that we use in our culture. And so our job is to look at how we respond to it, to look at how we hold our beliefs around money. To see those triggers and to allow ourselves, what's that thing the bomb squad does, right? They dismantle, right? To dismantle those triggers, to have a greater freedom, and I really want that for everyone here. So back to this idea of tithing, bet that there's at least one person in this room that feels a little triggered by that idea. Maybe you feel triggered by that idea because it was how you were brought up, you know, depending upon how old you are or where you came up or what, you know, spiritual practice you came in, you may have remembered, like, you know, when the pastor came over to the house for dinner on Sunday night and your family was like, oh God, he's going to ask us for money again. That's not what tithing is. Tithing isn't about just supporting your church. It's about supporting the source of your spiritual food. It's about imbuing your gift with love and then directing it towards the place where you felt most nourished. I began practicing tithing as a young woman in my 30s. I was going to a Unity church, one of our kissing cousins in this New Thought movement, and I happened to be there one Sunday when none other than Edwin Gaines was on the platform. And I remember she had this amazing, inspiring, motivating talk. And of course, when the basket came around, I emptied my wallet into that basket because I was so inspired. And then I went home and I was like, what the hell did I do? I had not learned the principles behind that practice yet. I was very inspired by what she said. It resonated with me, but I hadn't let it sink in yet. I had some more learning to do. I had some more understanding to get to. And what I've come to understand tithing as is a spiritual practice for me. When I'm holding on too tightly, it's time to tithe. When I'm in fear, it's time to give. When I'm afraid that I'm not going to get mine, it's time to let go. It's time to get into the flow. And so I want to say to you that tithing is optional. It's optional if it's something that you want to practice because you want more freedom around your money. It is not required. Our program that we launch this time every year is really about conscious, committed giving. And tithing is one way to enter into that. And I encourage you, if you're looking for a way to unbundle some of those triggers, to practice tithing, or to see a practitioner, or to take a class so that you can get to a better, deeper understanding of your relationship with money and exactly how much you or I, at each one of us as human beings, create the experience that we have. Now, I know that there are things that happen out in the world that are beyond our control, right? I absolutely know that there are times when it's difficult to make ends meet. There are times when we lose a job, we lose a partner, something happens, our mortgage shifts and the interest rate is more than we can afford. The economy, prices go up. I know all those things happen, but I want to tell you that you are not at the mercy of it. It is our opportunity, and I would be remiss if I didn't share with you that you can be free of all that. And the way that you become free of all that is to deepen your understanding, to begin to understand how the law of correspondence works, to begin to work with circulation, to begin to work with the principles that we teach here, and watch, as a good scientist, watch how things shift. One of my daily readers had a great little snippet in it that I thought was perfect to use as an example this morning. Because he talked about this idea that the conditions that we experience, we tend to look outside ourselves. It's that thing that's happening around me that has caused me to be in this place. But it really is an inside job. And so he writes, I was sitting in my bedroom reading in the wee hours when suddenly I heard my dogs barking in the backyard. My neighbors frown on this kind of disturbance, so with mixed feelings of anger and shame, and as well as fear of my neighbor's disapproval, I immediately called in my dogs. Several weeks later, the exact situation repeated itself. But this time, because I was feeling more at peace with myself, I was able to accept the situation. Dogs will bark after all. So I went and calmly called them in. Same situation, what was different? His peace of mind was different. His mindfulness was different. His conscious attention to himself was different. And money is the same deal. I can have an experience where, one of the things that tends to elevate my blood pressure is when I'm late, or if maybe I borrowed money and I forgot, and somebody was like, excuse me. And, my knee-jerk reaction is to feel guilt. And then I get really agitated. And then I got to pay that bill or pay that person right away. And it's completely unnecessary. I don't have to have that mindset. What I can do is I can remember, right, that what I'm experiencing is a trigger. And I'm not promising you that if you practice this philosophy that your triggers will go away, but I am promising you that if you're conscious about them, it's like the guy who went and let his dogs in the second time. You won't even react to it. You'll just look at it over there and say, you again? And then you'll come back to center, and you'll be able to react in a way that's loving, and it's kind to yourself. And so when we're looking at this idea of our relationship with money, I'm going to encourage you this month to go a little deeper, to look at those places that you might be triggered, and to see what the invitation is, because it really is an invitation for freedom. And sometimes we have to ask for help. Sometimes we have to do some inner work. Sometimes we need to just become conscious about something so that we can, like the guy who let his dogs in, just walk through life from a place of peace. That thing out there, that bill, that economy that's heating up in the newspapers and the gas prices that are going up, all those things, and you are responsible for how you take them in, and you're responsible for how you react to them, and you're responsible for whether you let them limit you or not. Now, granted, if it costs a lot of money for gas, for you to travel up north to visit family and you don't have the gas money, you might have to change some of what you're doing. But that doesn't mean you have to lose your peace of mind. That just means that we accept. We come into a place of acceptance, and we come back to that inner landscape where we begin to do the work of expanding our consciousness so that we can receive more. And you might want to practice tithing. You might want to practice some other spiritual practice like meditation or contemplation. You might want to stay after the service today and take my workshop where we'll be unbundling some of those obstacles that might be in your consciousness. There's many, many ways that we can get clear. And so I did promise we were going to talk about the creative process. So let me see if my little thing works here. There we go. What I can tell you about the creative process is that truth filters through our beliefs to become the things we experience. That's how the creative process works. There is a highest idea of God, and we're going to call it truth, and that shows up as joy and love and abundance and health and wealth and all these immutable qualities of God. And it filters through our beliefs, and it becomes the things that we experience. And yet, sometimes we're not carrying around beliefs that are really serving us. So we come to the creative process, and I'm betting you can't see that. It looked really good on the screen last night. But sometimes we come to the creative process, and we hold this idea of abundance, and it has to sort of meander through our consciousness of ideas like not enough, fear of losing things, the idea that you can't afford something, that everything's too expensive, that I just have to get by. Like, true abundance has to go through that whole obstacle course, and you're not going to have the experience of just things. You're likely to have an experience of lack. You're likely to have an experience somewhere in your life of contraction. But God doesn't work with contraction. Spirit flows. It flows easily. It doesn't throw up these roadblocks and obstacles that we experience in life. Those things are our making. And sometimes we come by those ideas honestly. You might have come by an idea of not enoughness from your parents who might have grown up during the Depression or had hard times. You might have some ideas through relationships. You might have been taught something in school. And sometimes we take on these beliefs without even recognizing that they're not true. It's just an idea of lack and limitation that somehow has been offered up to us. Now, certainly, if there's a food that you don't like and you go to a restaurant and you see it on the menu, let's say you don't like anchovies. You're not going to order the anchovy pizza. This is easy, right? But somehow, when we have these things that come up in our culture, and they're yakking at us in social media and on the news, and everything's hard and blah, 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 all that stuff that people try to buy into and try to get us to co-sign, you can say, no, thank you. You don't have to order off that menu. You can choose a bigger idea. So one of the bigger ideas that I want to share with you is this idea of responding with love. Responding with love. Now, what does that have to do with finances? It has everything to do with finances. Because when you've come up against these ideas, these limiting thought forms, these challenges that you might have in life, it's an opportunity for you to respond with love. It's an opportunity. And just to be clear, responding with love is not that you become a doormat and that whatever happens to you, you say, I love it. It's okay. Sometimes responding with love is saying, no, Sometimes responding with love is taking care of ourselves and loving ourselves enough to step away from a situation. Sometimes responding with love is that compassionate ear when you can listen and be with someone and you don't have to try to fix them. It's the idea of what would love do in a situation. And then taking that big idea of responding with love, because it really is that tool that you can use in almost every situation, that you can find that place within you so that you can respond to a situation from a loving place. Because that's the macrocosm. That's the way Spirit operates. It responds with love. It gives out of itself over and over again. It only wants to express itself as you. It only wants to express itself as your well-being. It only wants to express itself as your joy. Until we put all this stuff in the way. And then it can't help. It has to filter. It has to go through whatever filter you give it. So as we look at this idea of circulating love and our committed giving program, we've got some great workshops for you. Today, just for an hour, we'll meet from 12 to 1. And we'll look at some obstacles you might have, and I'm going to give you some spiritual practices once you identify them to release them and have greater freedom. Next week, Reverend Judy is going to do some wonderful today practice on gratitude. Gratitude is a great tool for opening up, for creating greater expression. And then finally, Reverend Karen is going to do some body work with us the third week, and then we'll have a great celebration. Because we're trying to increase the flow. In a world that is contracting, in a world that is getting tighter, in a world that keeps telling you that there's not enough, they need us. They need our philosophy. They need these bigger ideas. They need us to respond with love. So that's our call this month, to really respond with love, because when we respond with love, it crowds out all those other ideas so that when we are working with this truth principle of abundance, it moves through our response with love, and it shows up as circulating love and abundance. And I really want that. I want that for this community. I want that for each and every one of you. I want you to experience flow. I want you to experience freedom. I want you to experience a greater relationship with money so that when it's barking in the backyard, you just go to the door and calmly call it in. You don't have to get angry or frustrated or agitated. That you can be so solidly clear because you have chosen to respond to life with love. Are you with me? Yeah, all right. So on your chairs, and we can turn the slides off, on your chairs you probably found an envelope. And in that envelope is a little commitment card. And you have all month to decide whether you're ready to make a commitment or not, financial commitment or not to this community. But I'd love for you to open that envelope up and look at the card inside. On the side that says 2023, right above the signature line, there is a wonderful commitment statement that I want you to consider. And so if you have your card and you're looking at it, let's read that aloud right now together. Does everybody, you found it? Yeah. Right above the signature line. Here we go. God always supports its work in the world. I joyfully and intentionally commit to being the demonstration of this support through my financial contributions to my spiritual home, Center for Spiritual Living, Capistrano Valley. I consciously choose to circulate love through my committed giving, and so it is. And so you're invited to consider that at whatever level works for you. To consider that this is our spiritual home. We collectively own it. It is ours to nourish. It is ours to take care of. And the other thing I want you to know is that when we talk about circulating love in this practice of conscious giving, we're really looking at the fact that the gifts that you give to this center, they are going into circulation. They come through us. They move out to our vendors. They move out to our staff. They move out to our staff's vendors. They move out to the vendors of the vendors of the vendors. This is circulation, people. This is how a healthy economy works. And so when we are circulating love, we imbue our gifts with love. And you have a couple of options if you decide to participate in our conscious giving program. We have this beautiful altar in the back that Reverend Carla has set up. Thank you so much, Reverend Carla. There's an opportunity for you to go with your commitment card and your pledge to the altar to set an intention for prosperity for you and for this center, to light a candle. They're all electronic, no matches needed, and then to place your intention in our treasure box. Or you can put your commitment card in the basket as it goes around. Or you can think about it for a little while. We'll be offering this opportunity all month. The other thing I want you to know is that we're committed. And when I say we, I mean your board of trustees. If the board members in the room today, could you stand? That's you. That's you. I want you to know that your board members are 100% committed to our giving program. And as a matter of fact, we have this wonderful thermometer here, and we are over 20% of the way to our goal because of the staff and the board of trustees who have already committed. So thank you very much. This is all about giving. And when I talk about giving, sometimes we have this again, twisted idea. What I want you to know is God is always giving of itself. And so if we want to have that experience of giving of ourselves and replicating and being in alignment with the highest place within ourselves, find a place to give. If it's not here, I hope that it's somewhere in your life, that there's a place where you feel spiritually nourished, and that you want to imbue your financial offerings and your generosity, and that you can give to a place that is truly you being God, experiencing God as wherever that is, and being part of its support. Or as our line says, intentionally committing to being the demonstration. Because God can only experience the world by means of you. There is no other way it gets to experience life. So find a way to give of yourself. Find a way to pour yourself into life. That's how we experience abundance. So my final invitation to you, as I close my remarks and we get ready to pray, is to respond with love in whatever you do. Let that be your motto. Let this community represent that everywhere in the greater community, that we are the community that responds with love, that we are the community that gives love. We're the community that enters into the circulation of love. I hope that this has inspired you as much as it has me, and I'm really looking forward to how things shift and change as we give our whole selves to this beautiful idea. Thank you very much. And so we come to that place of high, holy connection with the One, where we have never been separated, where there has never been any harm or disconnect. And I trust that as each one allows themselves to go within, that there is a beautiful thread of connection that we pull on. And I know that that connection is simply the truth, wanting us to have an experience as it. So I know that anything that stands in the way of that highest idea of God, whether it be abundance or joy or love, I trust that we, right here and right now, commit to letting go of anything that stands in its way so that we can be that clear transparency of the divine in the world. And I know for each one that we lean in, that we go boldly, that we have courage, because we know we're not doing this alone, that God always supports its work. And of course, God is about the business of love. So we choose consciously to be love, to think love, to pray love, to practice love. And that's love to those around us and deep love for ourselves, because we're all one. And so it is in this deep appreciation and with a surrendered heart that I simply give this back from whence it came, knowing that we are indeed living in the circulation of love. And if you agree with me, I hope you'll join me in closing this prayer by saying, and so it is. Thank you very much. And now, the one, the only, Wade Woolridge, and is his not without his sidekick this time. Just you. Let's give him a hand, folks.
Close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, and it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care if they call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of all the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build, every room inside is filled with things from far away. Special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. Oh, they can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care if they call us crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of all the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. We may be right, we may be wrong, but say that you'll bring me along to the world you see, to the world we close our eyes. close my eyes and see. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me, a million dreams, a million dreams. I think of all the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Just a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Wade. Thank you. Let's give him another hand. Thank you, Wade. And a huge thank you to our wonderful band, David Page, Lou Savage, and Ed Cusby, and of course our beautiful Diane King Band, choir director and band. It's just, we are so blessed with so many wonderful, talented people. It's just a real blessing. It's time for our offering now. If our stewards would please come forward. If today is your day to make a gift, you can just put it in the basket when it comes around. If it is not, in the chair in front of you, there's a blessing card. And let me tell you what it says. In deep gratitude for all my blessings, I place this card in the basket. I ask that these offerings be blessed, appreciated, multiplied. It is my honor to give my blessing in this way. Thank you, God, universe, spirit. So you just place that in the basket, and that will expand and grow as well as everything else. Thank you. So let us say our offering together. My offering is my acceptance of God as the source of my supply, and it symbolizes my faith in the abundant flow of this supply.
I am the love of God. 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 I am love. I am love. I am the love of God. I am love. I am love. I am the love of God. We are 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 love. We are love. We are the love of God. We are love. We are love. We are the love of God.
gifts circulate throughout our community, we know that each recipient is blessed with divine abundance. We are so grateful for the energy of God as money. Thank you, God, for the gift of prosperity. And so it is. So, is there anyone here today for the very first time? If you are a new guest, we have a gift for you. If you raise your hand, one of the ushers will bring it to you. And if you fill out the card and take it into the bookstore, we have an additional gift for you, which is a book. So I'm not seeing any today, new guests. So next week we'll have 10, okay? Absolutely. When they hear the buzz in this center today, they'll all be here. Amen. So who are the volunteers? If you volunteered this week, please stand. Anything that you did at this center this week, thank you so much for your gift, for your seva, for your consciousness of giving. And we have practitioners that are here to serve you. And the practitioners today are Patrick Freeman, Jody Charton, and Jill Burnett. Now, Jody has been holding the consciousness throughout this entire service. She has been in prayer for all of us, for our minds to open, to our hearts to open, and for us to receive all the wisdom and glean all the goodness that Reverend Alice has given us today. So thank you to Jody. 2 of them will be on the back table over here in the back of the sanctuary. If you so choose to have a spiritual mind treatment, a affirmative prayer. Sometimes we have bumps in the road. We all have them. And sometimes everything's going great. We want it to continue. So I get a prayer all the time. I love it. So thank you so much, and be sure to avail yourself to this gift that we give you. And now it's time for our invitations.
I know we brought some. There they are. So as we're talking about time is money, so we'll go through these quickly so as not to take too much of your hard-earned dollars. So, show me the money!
I thought that money was the root of all evil.
No. The love of money is the root of all evil.
Well, Conscious Connection, the bread and butter of after-service meetings, will be on hold until November 13th because we have other activities planned for your participation after our service today and for each of the next 4 weeks.
So is that Conscious Connection, is that going on layaway, or are we getting a rain check for that, or how's that work?
You can bet your bottom dollar we'll be doing something instead. So during the month of October, we'll have 1-hour workshops where you can put your money where your mouth is each week relating to our program of commitment.
So stay after. If you normally go to Conscious Connection, go to the workshop instead. If you don't normally go to Conscious Connection, stay after anyway and have some food and break bread and listen to what's going on, because there's so much excitement going on, they haven't even finished creating it yet.
In for a penny, in for a pound.
And because money isn't everything, on November 6th, we're having a very special homecoming event, and it won't cost you 1 red cent. We are celebrating 10 years in this location.
We're also inviting friends and members from the past to celebrate with us and reconnect. Make new friends, but keep the old, because one is silver and the other is gold.
So plan on being here for the food, fun, and old and new friends. Legacy members who have invested 25 years or more in our center will be honored on that day and reap the dividends.
Cash in on the wisdom at the Wednesday morning book study with Mary, beginning a new book this week, Mind Over Medicine by Lisa Rankin, MD.
The author left a lucrative medical practice in her early 30s because of the stress of her ill-gotten gains was making her sick. So her personal journey is about the body's ability to innately heal itself with the cooperation, of course, of the patient, because health is better than wealth.
Don't miss out on this for love nor money.
Other weekly events are a dime a dozen around here.
Shifting Sands is a group that gives you the best bang for your buck on Thursdays.
And get a run for your money at Coming Home to Spirit. It meets on Zoom on Friday mornings.
Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. There is detailed information about each of these groups on the bistro table in the lobby, and none of these groups is beyond your means.
This Wednesday evening, October 12th at 6:30, the back of this room will once again be transformed into a sacred space for meditation led by Reverend Alice. Following the meditation, she will lead a discussion on the subjects of metaphysics and mysticism and how we apply spiritual principles in everyday life.
Oh, I bet that costs a pretty penny.
No, it's free actually, but you'll feel like $1 million. It happens twice a month, usually on the second and fourth Wednesdays.
And, you know, he who pays the piper calls the tune. So stand up and sing the closing song.
Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my health, Spirit, thank you for my health. Thank you for my health, Spirit, thank you for my health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day.
And so I know as we walk out this day, today, we walk it out knowing that we are guided by love, that love walks before us, that love is us, and that love follows behind us. And so it is.